Hi, I'm Kylie from Youth Asia. My question is, which part of the economic transformation program can help harness the power of all the young people in Malaysia, where 35% of our country is under the age of 35? Mm-hmm. What part of the economic transformation program can get us engaged in helping out?
Mm-hmm. We are going to run a laboratory we call it a youth lab. And so right now we're running a lab on sports. So in short order we will do one on youth, simply because we need to harness that very group. I call this the strategic enablers, the thing I described before, the strategic reform initiatives. Many of them are enablers. When you talk about how do we harness the strength, the youth, you must remember also the women. Women, half of the people in this country are women. We have to find a way how to harness what the women can provide. And so there are a lot of issues that are being addressed under that too. And so, for example, part-time working. How do we become a lot more flexible as an economy and a society, and allowing women to come in? And how do we get our young people to participate in new projects that they want to come forward? In fact, one of the things that came out in the open day, we had the open day, a lot of people came, 5,000 people. A lot of them saying, Idris, we really would have welcomed the opportunity to have come into the labs. You know, we had 12 labs, not many people came. And so, as we speak now, we are thinking of doing what's called a project fair. And we have not decided exactly when to do this. So the idea that came about was, why don't we have a big event and we invite as many people to come forward with their ideas, with their project, big and small, particularly the small, medium enterprise. The young people, I think to me, the word young is relative. Anybody, to me, anybody less than in the 60s is still young. And it's relative. But the youth, we'd like them to come forward, particularly how do we encourage people who have new ideas that they want to create new projects? What role can the government assist in providing this to happen? So when we have this trade or project fair, we'd like to put the government agencies in the same place, such as how do we help the youth and others to form companies, the SME Bank, SME Corp, the Matrade, MIDA, and all the people that are there to help. And so that we play a role of facilitating. And so this idea, we're still thinking it through. This is part of the feedback that we got from the public. And so what we get from the public, we take it very seriously. And that's, I think, one of the things that we will think about the modalities of implementing this. It's going to be a very big event to cause this to happen. Next question.
Thank you, Dato. My name is Loganathan from the Academy of Sciences Malaysia Secretariat. We did a recent study on the teaching and learning of science and maths in rural schools, because we did one in Shah Alam for urban schools. And we did that in Kota Kinabalu, and that was a massive eye-opener. There are schools in the interior of Sabah and Sarawak, as Dato will definitely know very well, from first-hand probably even, that don't have electricity, that don't have water, that don't have even proper buildings for schools. And you should see some of the pictures. It was an eye-opener for me and a tear-jerker that after 47 years of Malaysia, we still have schools like that and quarters and living, areas like that in Sabah and Sarawak. So what I'm getting to is, with all these plans, congratulations, it's very good. But there is a cohort of people in Sabah and Sarawak we seem to have left out. The human capital is going to come from there.
Sure.
So although education is one of the areas here, but I cannot see how that is going to be translated down to that very rural area in the heart of Sabah, in the heart of Sarawak. Thank you.
Thank you for raising that. I agree with you. It's very important. I come from a very rural background. My tribe, the Klabit tribe, we are only 5,000 people in this whole world. And we live very close to the Kalimantan border. As a kid, I used to walk to the nearest town 2 weeks. 1 week by boat and 1 week walking. It's very, very far. And under the government transformation program, if you know, I was just talking today about the ETP, In fact, the government has already launched the government transformation program. Under that, I mentioned just now, one of the NKEAs is this thing called rural basic infrastructure. Under the rural basic infrastructure, we are building rural roads to the tune for the next 3 years, 1,100% more than in previous years. It's not 100%, 1,100%. Electricity, solar, very simple electricity provision, 500% more than in previous years. Clean treated water, 700% more than in previous years. And we are working very, very hard to make sure that those projects are implemented. In fact, for the first 6 months of this year, we've already completed 463 kilometers of rural roads addressing those people. And I agree entirely with you. And these are very important for us to focus on. That's on the rural basic infrastructure. Under the GTP, we also have an NKRA, National Key Results Area, called education. One of the big things that we looked at in terms of education was the following. We asked the question, how many of our people who go to primary 1 have been to preschool? Only 60% of them have been to preschool, and large numbers of them, 40%, have not been to preschool. So our curriculum for Standard 1 is based on those that have attended preschool. So those that have not attended preschool, they then struggle to achieve the same level. So then they move to Standard 2, they struggle. Standard 3, Standard 4, they struggle. So what we did under the education NKRA, under the GTP, is to really focus on giving access to preschool. I'm glad to tell you, in the first 6 months of this year, we've already opened 1,300 over preschool classes, the biggest number of preschool classes that we've ever opened in any given academic year. Altogether, 54,000 students are now enjoying preschool classes since January this year. That if we didn't do this, 54,000 of our children who go into primary 1 next year or the year after next, they would not have gone to preschool. This was what we have learned from many advanced nations. When we look at how Finland, how South Korea, how others had moved, we must begin at the foundational aspect of society in terms of education, preschool. On education, there are 7,616 primary school in Malaysia, 7,616. We have now ranked all of them from number 1 to number 7,600.